Alright, you know what? I'm giving out advice here. I'm giving out advice. And, do, do. One of the best moments in my life, I was a kid, and it was just, it was just, kind of just freeing my mind from all the toxic bullshit out there, It's hard, though. It's hard because it's like sometimes you, get your, identity from your thoughts, right? You identify with those thoughts, and to change those thoughts or to threaten you. It's just so immature, but that's how so many people are. That's how I was. But it's also just admitting you're wrong. People are just so afraid to admit that they were wrong, that they did anything wrong, So looking back, it's easy to laugh at all these just hard-headed, dumb idiots, But I used to be one, I guess. Yeah, no, it's you gotta learn to listen. You gotta learn to listen, and listening is its own drama, man. Listening is its own drama. Because sometimes listening is heaven, sometimes people out there have some really awesome things to say. And just sometimes listening is hell, and you're just sitting there, and you're like, yeah, you just said this earlier, than the day before. The day before that, and the day before that. Or it could just be a propaganda, or just a vain idiot. I think there's truth out there, but it's I'm not the truth. I'm not the truth. In this whole virtue project, I'm not preaching anything to anyone. I'm just having fun with thought. And I could be wrong in anything I say. And I don't, oh, okay, I'm wrong. Ooh. Oh, wait. it's like your mind can be an adventure, and it doesn't have to be a prison. Even if you're right, your mind can still be a fucking prison, weird. I'm just searching for what is true. Because truth is hidden. Damn, that's the truth. You gotta search it out. You gotta study those birds and study the plants and break out your microscopes and do the research and all that stuff. No, your mind can just totally be an adventure, you know. And every day you can think a new thought, or listen to a new thought, and ponder it. But it's difficult, especially nowadays. It's like people get into these like intellectual clans, you know. And if you start thinking in any way different than the group, then you're gonna get kicked out of the clan. You know, you're gonna have no more friends. You're gonna have to find another group of friends to clan yourself up with, and it's just so distasteful. But like there's these like in that last video I was talking about struggling and hardship and stuff like that, and it's just like you have to have this acceptance. You have to also let go. You have to let go and accept, and sometimes you can be a tree in the ground, but sometimes you're just a leaf in the wind. That's what an adventure is all about. But like I was listening to these about these Chinese guys, right? And Lousy is one of them. Lousy. I think Lousy was one of them, but I think they were pre-Confucius, maybe. I forgot. Maybe they're post-Confucius. I don't know. But like they just got so fucking sick and irritated of Chinese society. They just did. They were just like, you know, like ew. These guys are just like all form and no heart, you know. And so it's like him and a group of other Chinese men. They just went out into the mountains and they just started supporting themselves, you know. Started growing their own food, and they just started doing poetry and doing music and doing philosophy. Although I don't know if they'd call it philosophy, but no, they were doing philosophy. And like recently I heard about this Chinese guy. He was probably post-Lousy, I don't know. But he was like this advisor to one of these important Chinese men, right? And like the advisor had other advisors, and these other advisors were winning out. So this guy just was like, fuck it. Fuck all you guys. And he just went to the mountains and just started living a good life, you know. And then it was that guy or another guy who was like, went to this guy and they're like, oh hey, advise me. And so he comes back out, but then the same shit starts happening again, because sometimes China is awesome and sometimes it sucks, you know, just like with any tribe. But no, that's what he did, and he went back out there and he's like, fuck this shit. And then like another advisor or another big Chinaman comes to him and he's like, advise me, you know. And I don't know, he sounds pretty cool. But yeah, no, that's definitely what these Chinese guys were doing. You know, they were just searching for the truth, and it was an adventure. It wasn't a cadence. That's it, I think.